They said they was gonna blow up my house. They said they was gonna do harm to me. It's just been a barrage of different things that they've been stating.
And now, yesterday, or let's backtrack first for a little bit. So you are the guardian of KeiMani, or you were the guardian of KeiMani, correct?
I am the legal guardian of KeiMani.
Salute Goodbreads, and welcome to the Brutally Honest Goodbread channel. Salute to my kings, salute to my sisters with sense. Today we got a crazy one, guys, because you know how I tell you all of the time, right? I tell you behind every hell of a son lies a hell of a mother, guys. And I don't lie to you guys over here. I just try to come to you and tell you guys the truth. You know what I mean? Because the truth is where we gonna find the solution and the problem. We're gonna find both. We're gonna find the problem, and then with the truth comes the solution. If we keep running around here capping and acting like these mothers are not responsible for childbirth, then we ain't never gonna get to no real solution. We gonna always stay on 13% of the population, and we gonna be poor, all right? Understand that. If all the men in the jungle are monsters, what do that say about the women who raised those men? Today's video come from the Miss T channel. For those of you that do not want my commentary and do not want to hear the truth, you want to believe whatever you want to believe, you can go on over to the Miss T channel and watch this video for yourself. Also, guys, the original video, my original breakdown to this story is on the Mr. Goodbread Plus channel. That's our man's channel. That's where we talk about the mental health in men, because the dad failed his daughter. So that was on the men's channel. Check that out over there on Mr. Goodbread Plus, guys. For the rest of y'all, let's do what we do.
That he confessed to her murder, and no, I take that back. They're saying that he confessed to her and slitting her.
Different places when it's a baby. That was a baby. Like I said, I have a very close relationship with KeiMani. She was a tomboy. She wasn't out looking for, trying to be fast or, mischievous or any of that.
Imagine being forced into some sick, twisted mess by your own father. Like literally your own dad. And then to make it worse, your grandmother helps him cover it up? Sounds like a horror movie, right? But y'all, this isn't fiction. This is real life, and it's exactly what happened to 15-year-old KeiMani. What makes this even more heartbreaking is the fact that KeiMani didn't just lose her life, she was betrayed, violated, and then allegedly unalived by the very people who were supposed to protect her. Darnell Jones is accused of ending her life, and now police just dropped a bombshell. There's video footage proving her own grandmother was complicit in the crime. So there's a saying that there's no greater love than a mother's love, but when that love turns into loyalty to your grown son over justice for your granddaughter, that's not love, it's madness. And this whole situation is an entire mess. So sit back, let's take a deep breath, because we're diving into the dark, tragic, and absolutely twisted case of KeiMani, a young girl who cried for help only to be betrayed by her blood. So let's break it down.
Guys, hit that like button. Y'all know what we do over here. Hit that like button, guys. You ain't even got to worry about me interrupting this one. This one's self-explanatory.
The day police found KeiMani's body was already heartbreaking, but what really made jaws drop, that her own grandmother, Dorothy Lateague, got arrested. So Grandma Dorothy had been talking to news outlets when KeiMani was first reported missing. She said her granddaughter was living with her, and everything seemed off the night she disappeared. According to her, when she came home on March 17th, the whole place was a mess, like something had happened. She then said KeiMani's glasses and keys were still there. The stove was on, which is just a wild case because it's just them and 2 dogs in the house, so who turned it on and why? On top of all that, her underclothes were found by the couch and her pajamas were tossed on the dining room floor. Suspicious? Yes. Very. Her grandma Dorothy gave this weird cryptic energy, like she wanted people to think that something bad might have happened, but also not saying much else. But the gag is that while she was still talking to reporters, the police were digging deeper. And y'all, they must have found something, because just hours after KeiMani's body was found, Dorothy was put in handcuffs. Now, KeiMani's mother, Tiara Caston, told reporters that she didn't even know what charges her mother was facing, which is wild because it means this family was spiraling and no one knew who to trust. past. Dorothy was the legal guardian, the one in charge, and now she's at the center of one of the sickest family betrayals we've seen in a minute. After KeiMani's body was found, police were scrambling for answers. Who would hurt this child? Who had access? Who saw her last? All eyes landed on one person, her father, Darnell Jones. According to the police affidavit, he was the last person to see KeiMani alive. He straight up told the cops that on March 16th, his daughter called him, saying she was scared to stay at home alone. He claimed he and his cousin came over, chilled for about an hour, and then dipped around 12:30 a.m. Sounds like a caring father, right? A protective move, right? Well, y'all, the story did not add up. Cops grilled him, and by the moment they started digging into his timeline, he folded. His statements were all over the place. He said one thing one day and then another thing the next. Suddenly, it was very clear he wasn't just a grieving father, he was a person of interest. But here's where it gets even more twisted, because back in December 2023, Child Services LCCS had already gotten a report about KeiMani's care while she was living with her grandmother, Dorothy. Then again in March 2024, these were 3 separate reports in total. People knew something wasn't right at that house. CPS had warnings and red flags everywhere. And in just 13 short years, KeiMani had been enrolled in 6 different schools, y'all. 6. That alone is alarming. It shows instability. It shows she was bouncing from place to place, and with every school she switched, she left behind signs that something wasn't right. Let's start with Imani Fisher, a classmate from her most recent school, Spring Elementary. Imani said she personally saw bruises on KeiMani's arms, and she wasn't the only one. Other students also noticed and said something. They went to the teacher, hoping someone would help her. The teacher claimed she'd take care of it, but clearly nothing came about.
She came to school with bruises on her arm.
That's 7th grader Imani Fisher, classmate of KeiMani's from her most recent school, Spring Elementary. Fisher says she would often see KeiMani come into class with visible markings, so she and other students decided to say something to a teacher.
And she said she would deal with it, but I don't think nothing happened.
TPS representatives say they have no records of against KeiMani to either CSB or TPD.
But even before Spring Elementary, there were warning signs. Kayleen Heridian, her 6th grade English teacher at Bennett Venture Academy, also spoke up. Kayleen said she spotted bruises too, clear ones, so she reached out to Child Services, CSB, and filed a report.
Hard, because especially in a role like education, your day doesn't end at 3:30. You take these things home with you. They weigh on you. I'm a parent myself, and I tried my best to make sure that she was removed from that environment.
Heridian claims she put in multiple calls to CSB. KeiMani's grandmother, legal guardian Dorothy Lateague, says they did come knocking on her door, but she denies there was any in the home.
Again, crickets. This wasn't just one person, not just one report, not just one school. This was multiple people across different settings raising alarm bells, and yet KeiMani kept slipping through the cracks, which is bad because at the end, this girl ended up unalived, her body mutilated and dumped like trash. But what hurts even more is the police later confirmed that Darnell Jones was not just lying, he was involved. At first, they charged him with abduction, but then the autopsy came back. Cause of death, incised wound to the neck. Her death was ruled a homicide. The truth was out. She didn't just disappear, she was killed. And Darnell, well, he ran, but not for long. Police caught up with him in Columbus, and then they tried to arrest him. He pulled a gun, so they shot him. He survived, but now he's in custody, facing and felonious assault charges.
As he should. But let this be an example to why they always want to call their mama. Every video that we react to, body cam that is, when the criminal get caught, who they want to call? They want to call their mama. Why they want to call their mama? Because that's who programmed them to be stupid and foolish just like that. That's who gave them that information. While she running around here talking about, I don't raise him like that. He make his own decisions. We know what time it is. That's why when he get in trouble with them decisions, he revert back to who gave him the information or the childhood experience to have and make those choices and decisions. You know what I'm talking about?
Dude, show me your hand right now. Pull your hand out here. I swear to God, pull your...
We're tracking new details in the death of KeiMani Lateague. The full unedited body cam video as police find and shoot the man they say killed her. What it shows happened just before an officer pulled the trigger. Plus, we get answers from Toledo's top cop.
So here's what's really shaking the table though. KeiMani's father and now accused killer there's at least one child with the woman who's now stuck in the middle of all this drama. For privacy reasons, we're not going to name her, but what we can say is this: her world is about to be turned upside down. People online have been dragging her and accusing her of being involved, of hiding things and knowing more than she let on. But hold on, because her sister came forward and she is not having any of it. Her sister made a public plea, basically saying, "Leave my sister alone. She didn't do anything. She's got kids in the house. She helped get Darnell locked up." And according to the tea that's been spilled in some leaked Facebook messages, the sister might be telling the truth because the situation right here is absolutely wild. Allegedly, the girlfriend helped the police locate Darnell after he went on the run. According to messages from a man who claims to be the boyfriend of the girlfriend's baby daddy, Darnell was calling his baby mama while in hiding. She wasn't answering the phone at first, but detectives allegedly told her to pick up and play it cool, just long enough to keep him on the phone and get a location. But here's the jaw dropper. Darnell allegedly confessed to her over the phone that Dorothy, KeiMani's grandmother, was involved in the murder. That's right, he supposedly told her that Grandma Dorothy had a role in this. The girlfriend tried to record the convo, but the recorder on her phone didn't catch it. She thought she was recording, but she wasn't. Imagine missing that pivotal moment. Still, the police were already working closely with her at the time. Still, the police were allegedly working closely with her the whole time, trying to piece together Darnell's whereabouts and build a case. And even though she helped, people online started doxing her, leaking her address, threatening to show about her home, and harassing her kids in the process. And y'all, this is dangerous and messy. These are real people's lives. The man who leaked the messages also made it clear she ain't hiding nobody. She ain't covering for Darnell, and she ain't just storing the evidence. He said he's been with her since Sunday just to protect the kids in the house. Y'all, this man literally said, "I'm not letting anybody roll up in this house with my kids inside." But before we go any further, let's rewind a little bit. Before this recent twist where KeiMani's grandmother got officially tied to the case, the internet had already been giving her a side eye. People were suspicious, and I mean real suspicious. So here's what had people raising their eyebrows way before the rest even happened. Grandma Dorothy claimed that people were threatening her, like not just online hate, but real life threats. She said people were saying they were gonna blow up her house. Like, y'all, but if that's true, that is pretty scary. But to make it even more dramatic, she reportedly called the cops on herself, asking for protection and an escort out of the area. But here's the kicker: when the cops pulled up, they didn't walk her out quietly or shield her like some victim. She was led out in handcuffs. But hold on, why would Grandma Dorothy be getting cuffed if she's the one who called for help?
They said they was gonna blow up my house. They said they was gonna do harm to me. It's just been a barrage of the different things that they've been stating.
And now, yesterday, or let's backtrack first for a little bit. So you are the guardian of KeiMani, or you were the guardian of KeiMani, correct?
I am the legal guardian of KeiMani.
Okay.
Well, later, she tried to explain it away, saying that the handcuffs were just for her own safety and to help disperse the angry crowd. But ever since then, people started watching her very closely. But then came the flip-flop statements. One minute she claimed that she didn't know where Darnell was. She was shocked and confused, and then out of the nowhere, she starts revealing some very dark, disturbing stuff. Dorothy claimed that Darnell confessed to her. Yes, according to her, Darnell admitted to his own daughter, slitting her throat and plotting it all beforehand. She said he was grooming KeiMani and that it was all a premeditated plan.
Like I said, I feel deceived. I feel like this was pre-planned. I feel like you meant to do this. I feel like you was grooming her. I never saw anything out the ordinary. But when motherfuckers decide to choose prey, they groom you first.
This is sick and sad. And she had the nerve to say she never noticed anything was wrong, that she was deceived, that she didn't see any signs. You raised this man, you didn't see nothing? But let's be real here. Some people might give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she was manipulated. Maybe she was in denial. Maybe she's sick too. But the internet? No, the internet is saying she's trying to save face now that her name's being dragged into the fire. But y'all, how do you go from, I don't know where he is, to he confessed to all these gruesome details? People feel like she's only talking now because she knows she's in trouble too. And let's not forget, this is the same woman Darnell allegedly said was involved when he was talking to his ex. So at this point, it's giving cover-up, it's giving damage control, it's giving too little too late. But speaking of deceiving, let's talk about how Darnell Jones tried to get slick with his ex-girlfriend. Like, y'all, this man really thought he was smarter than everybody around him. But plot twist, she saw right through it, and thank God she did. So get this, around Friday, March 21st, Darnell hits up his ex, yes, the same woman who's been staying real low-key through all of this, and asks her to do something very specific. Not know how you doing, not know I need help. No, he told her to turn off the cameras at her house. Like, what? Excuse me? Now, obviously that request threw her off because why would someone who's supposedly innocent be worried about security footage? Instant red flag. But instead of listening to him, sis left the cameras rolling as she should. Smart move, because who knows what he was going to be doing, and she knew something was off. Well, let's just say she was right to trust that gut.
The weird thing about it is because before they even showed up, he asked me to turn my cameras off. I have cameras in my house, and he asked me to turn them off. And I was like, why would you want me to turn the cameras off? He said, because I didn't come home till 5 o'clock that morning. And he didn't want them to suspect anything because he didn't show up till 5. And I'm like, well, thinking in my head, I'm like, well, if you don't have anything to hide, then why should I turn the cameras off? And I didn't, but he thought I did.
Ladies, let that be a lesson. Well, while she was in the other room, a relative of hers caught Darnell on the move, literally. He was seen taking stuff from his SUV and stashing it under the basement stairs, and real shady behavior. Like, this man was out here playing hide and seek with potential evidence in somebody else's house. If that don't scream guilty, I don't know what does. But after the police brought both of them in for questioning, she came home before he did, and her family told her what they saw him do. Sis didn't waste no time. She called the detectives immediately, and they came back with a search warrant. And y'all, when they checked under those stairs, they found it. A big SUV floor mat, all rolled up like he was trying to hide some stains or something. And get this, he also left behind muddy work boots, even though he hadn't been working. Like, sir, what were you doing stomping around in the mud the week your daughter was found harmed?
It was like a mat for the back of your truck, not a pickup, but SUV. You know, when you lay your seats down and you put that rubber mat in there to protect the back of your seats in case you're hauling something. That's what he rolled up and put in my basement. And his work boots, which were caked with mud. I never seen him put it under there, but I wasn't about to hold no evidence for him or none of that. He must have thought that.
But the wildest part, once he found out police grabbed the stuff, he disappeared. And that was the last time she saw him. Gone, just vanished. And then he messed up again because he later called her from Columbus, and that was all she needed. Sis told the police exactly where to find him. And as you all know by now, that's how they caught him.
I don't question this. I came back home before he did, and my family that was here informed me that he hid something under my stairs in my basement. So I called the detectives, and they came and did a search warrant and grabbed it. And once he noticed those were gone, that was the last time I seen him.
After trying to run, trying to hide, trying to dodge the truth, and like I told y'all before, he ended up catching some bullets during the arrest. And looking at everything that's going on, you can clearly see that people are side-eyeing KeiMani's grandmother, Grandma Dorothy Teague. So let's not sugarcoat it, y'all. Let's be real here. She looks guilty, real guilty. She knew the kind of man her son was. She knew KeiMani was in danger. She saw the bruises. She lived in the house where the happening, and still she did nothing? No cause, no intervention, no effort to protect the child? Even when the police got involved, she didn't flinch. Like, how do you even sleep at night when your granddaughter is showing up to school with people are reporting it left and right? Honestly, it's no surprise she's been taken into custody, and she needed them handcuffs too, because when you protecting her instead of the child, you're a part of the point blank period. So now the question is, how deep does this really go? Did Grandma Dorothy help plan this or just turn a blind eye? And why did CPS ignore these multiple red flags from different schools? And what would have happened if just one adult had truly stepped up? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Who failed KeiMani?
And it's quite simple, Miss T. In these situations, the two people that humped and sucked on each other and decided to bring the child into the world failed the child. Both of them. Now they can share some equal responsibility in failing of this child. That's what they can share equal responsibility in. But both of them, the moms and the dad. And yes, the moms get some of this work too because she's not completely innocent. Women choose who get the fish hole. Women choose which man get the fish hole and bring the baby into the world for them. Yeah. Don't forget that. Don't ever forget that. All right, guys. Now, y'all like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Let's take it to the comment section. I'll let this one breathe because I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this hell of a story, yo. Hell of a story. That is a hell of a son right there, boy. All right, I'm going to the comment section now. I'll see y'all there.